Sound check. Good afternoon.
We can hear you, Julia.
Perfect, thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Julia Kersansky, and I'm the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Strategic Trade at the Bureau of Industry and Security at the Department of Commerce. It is my pleasure to be with you today and to brief you on our new advanced interim final rule, AI diffusion framework. My functions at BIS include regulatory and licensing functions within my purview. So this past Monday, the Department of Commerce announced a regulatory framework for the responsible diffusion of artificial intelligence. This new regulation furthers our broader strategy to cultivate a secure and trusted technology ecosystem for the responsible use and diffusion of AI. This framework amends the Export Administration Regulations, EAR, by placing controls on advanced computing, integrated circuits, and closed artificial intelligence model weights, alongside several new license exceptions and updates to the data center validated end user authorization. We're expanding controls on the most advanced AI training capable integrated circuits and frontier AI models that could convey strategic military advantage to our adversaries. For instance, the ability to operate autonomous jets or conduct cyber operations. At the same time, we're creating broad exceptions to enable commercial use and development of AI applications short of the frontier, and providing updates to the data center validated end user authorization to incentivize adoption of US-grade security controls for data centers around the world. Could we switch to the next slide, please? So let me begin with some background. Over the past decade, the AI models have shown striking performance improvements across many fields of human endeavors, giving ordinary people increased access to tools and capabilities that have previously required highly specialized skills. As these models continue to improve, this increased access may enable nefarious actors to engage in activities that pose profound risks to US national security, including making it easier to develop chemical or biological weapons, supporting powerful offensive cyber operations, and further aiding human rights abuses, including mass surveillance. At the same time, the AI developments have potential to provide tremendous economic and social benefits to humanity. So we recognize that it is impossible to realize the full potential of these benefits without active participation from trusted friends and allies, including like-minded nations, global firms, and research institutions committed to deploying US technology essential to the AI development under safe and secure conditions. So BIS remains committed to ensuring that humanity can reap this crucial benefit. Next slide, please. My apologies for the bad sound. I don't know if there is anything that we can do to fix it in the short term, because I don't know who controls it, but I'm going to try to move closer to the mic and speak more legibly. Does this sound better? Has there been any improvement in the sound? I just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. Excellent, thank you. So I want to stress that the framework focuses on the most advanced US AI models and the large clusters of advanced computing integrated circuits necessary to train and inference them, to make sure that only trusted and responsible foreign entities and destinations willing to abide by certain security and safety requirements receive the crown jewels of US technology. In other words, commercial flow of this technology, chips going to cell phones or cars or games, or models one generation behind the frontier, will continue to flow unimpeded, so they could deliver AI benefits globally without jeopardizing security. Next slide, please. So again, to emphasize that we are leveraging US technological dominance to shape the rules of the road for responsible use of AI and expand US-led AI ecosystem by incentivizing adoption of stringent cyber and physical security requirements by companies which are trusted to build AI data centers using US technology to store US and foreign AI models. Next slide, please. So this rule adopts a three-pronged strategy, including first, controls on advanced computing and integrated circuits, second, controls on closed source AI model weights, and third, security requirements for storage of these models outside the United States. Next, please. Let me discuss the controls on advanced computing. So we're establishing a worldwide license requirement for exports, re-exports, and in-country transfers of advanced integrated circuits and electronic assemblies used to house them, specifically ECCNs 3A090.A, 4A090.A, and the corresponding Z items. These chips themselves have been controlled to the D5 in Macau since October 2023. So now we're establishing a worldwide licensing requirement for the same technologies, but we're not amending the ECCNs. As I mentioned, large clusters of advanced computing chips are essential to the development of advanced AI models. And so this global licensing requirement for the export of advanced chips is crucial to ensuring that these items are not diverted to destinations or end users of concern. Next slide, please. To ease the regulatory burden, we are providing 3 new license exceptions conditioned on compliance with certain security measures for validated end users and low-risk destinations. This will help us ensure unimpeded flow of technology to allies, sustainability of supply chains, and availability of low-volume shipments. This also means in practice that most exports will not require a license. Next, please. So let's walk through the license exceptions. The first new license exception, artificial intelligence authorization, applies both to advanced chips and to the AI model weights. For the advanced chips, it provides a broad license exception for export to entities located or headquartered within a small group of allied or partner countries, as long as they certify compliance with specific security requirements provided in the AAR. These destinations are listed in Supplement Number 5 to the AAR Part 740, and they include Australia, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Republic of Korea, Spain, Sweden, Taiwan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These countries have been grouped together because their governments have already implemented advanced measures to prevent diversion of sensitive and emerging technologies and have sophisticated export control systems. And because there is already a pre-existing AI ecosystem, supply chains that are enabling the use of advanced AI models to pursue shared national security and foreign policy objectives. Next, please. The second license exception is designed to facilitate AI development in other destinations. So the new license exception, advanced compute manufacturing, allows for license-free export of advanced computing chips for the purposes of development, production, and storage in any destination except to arms embargo countries, those in country group D5 and Macau. This license exception builds upon the temporary general license from October 2023 rule to prevent disruption of the supply chains and will enable integration of advanced chip into computer service in different countries. Next, please. Okay, the third new license exception for low volume is called low processing performance, or LPP, and it allows for limited quantities of advanced integrated circuits, quantities that are well below the amount necessary to train the most advanced AI models, to flow globally to customers in destinations other than those in country group D5 or Macau. The threshold for the LPP exception has been set at 26,900,000 total processing performance per end user per calendar year. Total processing performance is a technical metric that we're using to understand the chip's computing power. This is a computational capacity that is roughly equivalent to about 1,700 NVIDIA H100 GPUs, the most capable chip for AI training applications. This is a substantial quantity of chips for commercial applications that would require the use of AI for commercial purposes in banking or healthcare. There are likely only a few hundred companies in the world who will require this much AI hardware, and the majority of these companies are located in the United States and closely allied countries. This license exception is not available for exports or re-exports made through distributors or for in-country transfers, and the ultimate consignees will have to notify BIS when they have reached the annual TTP allocation limit. Next, please. So I'm going to get a little bit ahead of myself and talk about the license requirements for larger quantities of chips, which we will address later, but this, I think, may flow better logically before we speak about the VEUs. So there is a license requirement now for larger quantities of chips or transactions involving larger quantities of controlled chips anywhere outside of the allies and partners mentioned earlier. So anything above the LPP exception will now require a license anywhere outside of this small group of allies and partners and will be subject to a specified country cap of roughly 50,000 GPUs. The technical parameters listed in the rule themselves are 790 million TPP, and this is cumulative for the next 3 years through the end of 2027. Just to provide a reference, this is about 4 times the size of compute that is used to train GPT-4, the most powerful AI large language model. The license applications for these larger transactions will be reviewed under a presumption of approval up to a cap, and this licensing policy will enable end users in these destinations to develop AI models just short of the frontier. Consistent with the previously established policy, a presumption of denial will remain in place for arms embargo destinations, including country group D5 in Macau, regardless of quantity. Let's now talk about another way in which we're trying to ensure that access to AI is going to continue to be unimpeded. So in addition to the license exceptions I've already mentioned, we're providing a mechanism for end users to achieve validated end user status by updating the data center validated end user authorization, which we implemented in October 2024. We have further bifurcated this VEU authorization into two different parts, a national validated end user and a universal validated end user. Next slide, please. So the universal VEU or UVEU will provide US and ally partner headquarter companies like Amazon or Apple or Microsoft or Meta, with a single license that will allow them to build multiple data centers around the world, except in arms embargo destinations. National VEU will provide US or foreign companies with authorization to build a data center in specified locations, except in armed embargo destinations. The authorized national VEUs will be able to build data centers up to a specified scale in countries in which they're authorized. And for the next 3 years, this ramp up is going to be 40,000, 120,000, and 320,000 of the most advanced chips. Again, to provide a frame of reference, the supercomputer using 40,000 GPUs could train GPT-4 in a month. Conversely, a supercomputer with 300,000 GPUs is 3 times as large as the largest current supercomputer and could train GPT-4 in 3 days. So the allocations for national VEUs are separate from and are not linked to the host country's cap. This is designed explicitly to incentivize companies to go through the VEU verification process and to meet enhanced physical and cybersecurity requirements for protection of advanced ICs. In some cases, we will further insist on establishing government-to-government agreements with destination countries to demonstrate their commitments to safeguarding U.S. technology. The AI diffusion framework requires universal VEUs to keep their largest compute clusters in the United States or allied countries. Specifically, universal VEUs cannot transfer or install more than 25% of their total AI computing power in locations outside the United States or the allied and partner countries I mentioned above. And they cannot transfer or install more than 7% of their total AI computing power in any single country outside of those countries. This means that the preponderance of compute capabilities will be kept in the United States or its friends and allies. Additionally, the UVUs headquartered in the United States cannot transfer or install more than 50% of their total AI computing power outside of the United States. In this way, the AI diffusion framework ensures the largest AI data centers are not built in countries that are not currently subject to license requirement that could provide compute power for training frontier models to PRC or other embargoed destinations. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to discuss the second prong of the three-prong strategy envisioned in this framework, specifically the new controls that are being established on the most advanced closed model weights. So this rule creates a new licensing requirement in a new ACCN, which establishes a worldwide licensing requirement for closed AI model weights above 10 to the power of 26 training operations. Again, for reference, an AI model trained with 10 to the 26 to the power of 26 training operations would be nearly 5 times as large, measured in terms of computation, as GPT-4. BIS believes that there are currently fewer than 5 models in the world that exceed this threshold. So this is a very sophisticated set of model weights. We're also adopting a new foreign direct product rule, and this FDPR extends BIS jurisdiction over certain foreign-produced model weights produced by advanced computing chips made with U.S. equipment, software, or technology. Next, please. I guess I got ahead of myself again with the model weights. So we already talked about this in the FDPR. So if we can skip to the next slide, Lauren. So both U.S. Origin and foreign-produced model weights will now be subject to authorization requirements for closed AI model weights above 10 to the 26 to the power of 26 training operations. We're also adopting a new red flag guidance to help address any kind of compliance or diversion concerns. There is going to be exporters will be able to self-certify or rely on the determination from BIS, which we will lean on the AI Safety Institute and the Department of Energy to provide. The exporters can also submit a commodity classification request to determine that model weights are not controlled because they are below the open source levels. We are also going to use the license exception for artificial intelligence authorization, which I mentioned earlier, to allow the export of otherwise controlled closed AI model weights by companies headquartered or located in certain U.S. and allied and partner destinations, except to an arms embargo destination. Again, the artificial intelligence authorization exception will apply to model weights that are below this threshold that I had mentioned earlier. And we will not require license for export of open weight models. So models that have widely available model weights will not be subject to controls. And as I mentioned, model weights of closed models that are less powerful than the most advanced open weight models will also not be subject to controls. We will be adjusting the model weight parameters based on open source equivalence. In other words, if an open weight model of equivalent performance is trained using larger number of operations than 10 to the power of 26, the control will be set above what is available in open source. We think that this will likely happen within the next year based on the current trends, and the automatic update of the control thresholds will help ensure that this threshold continues to only capture the very largest closed source models in the world. Next, please. So obviously, I mentioned this in the context of the VEUs, but it's important to emphasize that we are imposing stringent security conditions to safeguard the storage of the most advanced models and destinations that are going to house AI data centers, to protect U.S. national security and to mitigate the risk of diversion for advanced computing chips. This will ensure that when larger amounts of compute are being exported outside of the United States, our technology will be protected under the highest standards. And that, in a nutshell, is the third prong of the strategy. Again, imposing controls on the model weights, imposing controls on the chips themselves, and then imposing security conditions on data centers in which the chips or the model themselves will be stored. The framework also provides for updates to the destination scope of the license exception for advanced computing authorization. It is being expanded to allow for worldwide export of AI chips that are below the standard that is expressly designed for data center use, so ECCN 38090.b, except to D5 in Macau, located or headquartered companies, or to companies whose ultimate parent is headquartered in D5 in Macau. So this would allow for chips that go into cell phones or gaming, again, to go unrestricted. The framework also establishes additional information requirements for notified advanced computing, notification process for exports and re-exports to Macau or country group D5. These additional information requirements are designed to provide BIS and interagency partners the opportunity to evaluate the national security risks posed by proposed transactions, including such considerations as whether end users have ties to military or intelligence organizations, or whether exported chips could be integrated into a data center cluster. These additional information requirements should result in greater number of NAC notification approvals and will give exporters a sort of a more predictable time frame for receiving those approvals. Next, please. To summarize, before I discuss the timeline, we are implementing this AI diffusion strategy through the following steps. First, we are revising the license requirement and the license review policy for AI-capable advanced integrated circuits. Two, we're adding new license exceptions for artificial intelligence authorization, advanced compute manufacturing, and low processing performance that apply to advanced computing integrated circuits, AI model weights, and related items to ensure that the flow of technology to allies and sustainability of the supply chain remains unimpeded, and to provide exceptions for low volume shipments. We're bifurcating the data center validated end user authorization into universal and national validated authorizations. And we're adding new controls for AI model weights under new export control classification number 4E091. We're also providing new red flag guidance related to AI model weights. We're expanding country scope of license exception advanced compute authorized, ACA, and we're updating license exceptions notified advanced computing to improve its efficiency. The rule will enter into force on January 13th, has entered into force on January 13th, 2025. However, we're delaying compliance date by 120 days following its publication in the Federal Register. And we're also requesting comments 120 days from the publication in the Federal Register. This extension is designed to give the public and affected industry an opportunity to assess the effectiveness of the rule and provide us with substantive feedback that we could use to incorporate and strengthen the framework. So to conclude, through this regulation, we are seeking to ensure graduated, responsible diffusion of advanced AI capabilities, which will counter potential for AI's use in weapons systems and other military applications that would be contrary to U.S. national security or foreign policy objectives. This will enable a fuller understanding of the risks posed by each generation of AI models and the development of safety mitigation before the most advanced models, weights, and the largest clusters of advanced computing chips disperse globally. At the same time, we're creating paths that enable trusted partners to use this advanced technology for the benefit of their societies and economies immediately. A focused scope on the frontier, AI will allow commerce in AI models and advanced chips to continue largely unimpeded and will draw countries into US-led AI ecosystem. This framework is a product of extensive and ongoing AI policy review process with partners across the US government, and it is designed to consider strategic, tailored, and effective controls on diffusion of advanced AI technology to entities and destinations around the world. This rule is building on the steps that we have taken previously to ensure that American technology stays in the hands of those we trust, including the several iterations of BIS rules imposing controls on advanced semiconductors and semiconductor manufacturing equipment, the most recent of which was published in December of 2024. And with that, I thank you for your attention and look forward to receiving your feedback during the comment period. Thank you.